Good morning and welcome to the new edition of Frontiers of Knowledge. Each one of us, there might be some exceptions, is addicted to the smartphone. That has become a fulcrum around which our whole life moves. Why? Was it that attracts us to this small rectangular piece of technology, binds us that we are unable to move away from it? It's as near to us as a dear and near ones. And once it is away, we feel lost. What is it? Recently, when Apple was to launch its new iPhone, there were scenes of a new community around the iPhones. Ahead of the launch, the stores, which are called the town squares, double as public spaces, complete with plazas, indoor forums, and boardrooms. Chat rooms start humming. Why? It is not the groundbreaking design. It's not the connection with internet. It is much more. If you have seen the process of growing up and growing down, you would understand that this addiction is not something normal. This is basically psychological and has a root in your human psyche. What is it that binds you to the telephone? I have been witnessing this almost becomes a craze for a lot of people. And here is my take on why we love our phones more than sometimes we love ourselves or our lives. First thing is, it's become a part of our extended self. One is aware of oneself even in a womb. The development of the cell accelerates, increases rapidly after the birth. A newborn, first and foremost, attaches itself to the primary caregiver, and that's the mother, and later to others whom we come to know, the father, the brother, the sister. And that is an extended self. The child, the toddler, the infant sees himself or herself in the caregiver, in the immediate family. And when the toddler becomes a bit older, he sees the same self in the teacher and the peers. And then grows up teenager, finds a love, and this cycle goes on. William James was the first psychologist who decided that, and he wrote that sum total of all that man can call his, not only his body and his psychic powers, but his clothes, his house, his wife and children, is the extended self. And loss of this extended self, which includes money and material projects, can lead to a greater loss sometimes than the human life itself. Amazing, isn't it? So this telephone has come to me, an extended self, replacing the human bond that used to tie any person with the immediate family, with the friends, with the society as a whole. And that has led to this addiction. The phones are, as a matter of fact, playing a similar role to what was earlier played by the parents, by the sibling, by the teachers, by the classmates, by the team players. It's not uncommon to feel a sudden onset of anxiety if you drop your phone or you happen to mislay it. The moment you are unable to find it, you feel lost. You go crazy hunting for it. And that is because you're not hunting for the phone. You are hunting for your extended self. It has become a part of your life, a limb, not attached to your body, but attached to your mind and to your psyche. If you remember that 50% individuals born between 1980s and 1990s experienced moderate to high anxiety when they were kept away from their phone. That was seen in a recent research in California State University. Their phones were taken away from them for 15 minutes. It was a group of people. And the group which was born between 1980s to 1990s, in that decade, they were experiencing very high, but somewhere on the moderate, so we can say moderate to high level of anxiety. But the moment this group dropped, say those who were born between 65 and 79, their anxiety was not as much as that of the latter group, because that group had been more attached to the extended self in the shape of human beings. This group was more enamored and more attached to this device. And you can be sure, if this research is replicated in an age group of those born after 2010, between 2010 and 20, you would find even a child of 5 and 6 today is so attached to the phone that he will not care for his mom and dad. And that is possibly becoming a major tool in kidnapping or leading people astray. So the primary cause of the difference between these two in that state university was that in the earlier period, these devices were just coming in. They did not have much hold. And that's why they were not exactly a part of the extended self, whereas they are now. Now, the second thing is that apart from being a part of the extended self, there's a major element, the recalled caring relationship. The smartphones in particular with their games, apps, and notifications are an essential aspect of your own self. And this is the way it is. If you studied a psychodynamic theory, you would know that childhood experiences shape personality. And relationship with the technology mirrors the environment our parents created in caring for us. This environment functions around a keen awareness of what an infant needs and establishing an eye contact. Now, when you grow up from an infant to an adult, that eye contact is replaced and you re-experience it touching, belonging to the others through your phones. Technology has afforded a space for yourself. We can be satisfied, we can play and feel alive. A space which was earlier provided by the caregivers. And that is where the addiction comes in place. When you hold your phone in your hand, it reminds you the moment of intimacy, whether from the childhood or from the adult life. Maybe the phone in your hand reminds you of the finger of your father who was taking you for a walk, or the grasp of your beloved when she met you in the teens. That touch which you are missing has been replaced by this phone. This caring relationship, which no longer may exist, is recalled by the phone. What happens is, the moment of intimacy, whether from childhood or adult life, causes, if the recollection is there, causes chemical dopamine and love hormone oxytocin to fly up, to flow through your body. And the moment you touch your phone, the same chemicals, dopamine and love hormone, which is oxytocin, which is also basically a drug, they are highly addictive. They kick in. You feel high. And these chemicals create a sense of belonging and attachment. And once the feeling of kinship, that feeling of attachment is created, you are hooked forever. Holding the phone has the same effect as when a parent looks lovingly at a child, or two lovers gaze at each other. You know, there was an Apple executive, Philip Schiller. He wrote that iPhone X, learns who you are. And once it learns who you are, then it gives you back. You know, even if you study theology, you would find that it sports dopamine and oxytocin. The Judeo-Christian tradition, for example, identify God as intimate God who seeks face time and creates caring environment. I quote from Bible, "The Lord bless you and protect you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his face to you and grant you peace." And Lord has now been replaced by mighty smartphone. And the third reason, again psychological, it fulfills the need to produce and reproduce. It's a human nature. Let's not forget. It's our second nature to copy, to imitate, make models, and explore differences as we try to become either a better person or a different person. Now, phones help us do that. You take pictures, manipulate images, join discussions, chat rooms, then you create a selfie, reach out to the others, text back and forth, weave together a conversation, and through searching, you become knowledgeable even when you lack wisdom. You don't have wisdom. Let's agree that once you are addicted to something, your wisdom leaves, but you get knowledge. You know what the ancient ancestors used to do? They used to paint on the cave walls and told stories around the fire. That telling stories around the fire and cave painting has been replaced by your selfies, your chat rooms, your texting. It should not come as a surprise that 46% of the internet used today, 46% is because of the smartphones. And by 2021, it's going to grow up to 75%. So 75% of the total internet world is just concentrated on the smartphones, and 25% goes to laptops and desktops and other devices combined. You are destined to live with phones in your hand. Now, you are living with technology. But is it appropriate? No. We need to show up in person and make a difference. The human contact might be replicated, and it is being replicated, but it can never be replaced absolutely. As a matter of fact, iPhones are the smartphones of other mates, Galaxy, Samsung, whatever, can be complementary. Unfortunately, what's happening is they are replacements, and there is where the tragedy lies. Human beings can be disappointed, and they would be disappointed if they limit the space and relationship to the small scales or the town scales of the Apple. We need intimate relationship where we give and receive touch. Now here you're giving touch, the receiving is not there. Where you gaze into somebody's eyes and make an eye contact. Here you are just looking at the device. You need space. And you get space online. But the deep connections cannot be made where you can rest, play, and discover. As I said, this iPhone, a smartphone, can give you knowledge but cannot give you wisdom. The wisdom comes from human contact. That is transmitted from human contact. Wisdom never comes from watching or reading. It comes from observation. It comes from interaction with the human beings. So, you know the psychological reasons, and they are that they are in your extended self. They recall your caring relationship, and they fulfill the need to produce and reproduce. And that is the main reason, that the late marriages are taking place, because people have substituted human reproduction by reproduction on the smartphones. Technology by itself is neither good nor bad. It's neutral. As a matter of fact, it's not even neutral. It's how you use it. It can be neutral if you use it as a complement to the human needs. It can be bad if you depend on it absolutely, and good if you use it sagaciously. The choice is yours. I'm sure that you will have a new look at your smartphones and a new approach to it. That's the way the salvation lies. Otherwise, you're going to be slaves of this small 5-inch diagonally rectangular thing called smartphone. Thank you.